Okay. Okay, so let's jump in. So obviously we're in a pretty uncertain environment where face-to-face communication with your clients and prospects isn't absolutely possible. So today I'm really going to cover what's really working well for my coaching clients in terms of getting more clients in the door online, how to really connect with them as prospects, how to kind of get over the fact that you can't meet with them in person, and really start to close more business on a consistent basis, all while not having, not having to kind of post online in terms of social media posts, having to wait all that time to kind of build up your following over time. So I'll break it down in detail as we go through. I'll leave some time for Q&A at the end so we can get some more specific questions that you might have for your business. But for now, let's jump in and go through the slides. So again, my goal here at the end of this little less than an hour is to go through the strategies that are working, for my own business and for the coaching clients that I do have, which are really getting most of their clients online. How you can do that, even if you don't have any type of following online, even if you're starting from scratch. That's really the idea. Is even if, day one right now, you don't have any real following online, you don't have a lot of social media posts, we're going to start from scratch today, give you the strategies that you need to get clients even this week, if you want to get started right away. Again, one thing that I want to mention is if you stay to the end of this webinar, I've got a couple of pair of free bonuses that's going to really help out specifically your business and start implementing the strategies that we're going to talk through today. So again, stay through to the end. I'll give you details on those and we'll go from there. One of the things too as well, so obviously a lot of you are kind of at home, you have a lot of distractions. What I'd ask you to do for the next half hour, 45 minutes is kind of put your phone on silent, kind of remove all the distractions, kind of just give me your full attention for this period of time, because I know the strategies that I'm going to cover are going to help you out with your coaching business, help it grow within this uncertain environment, and help you have more of an impact going forward. So just an introduction for me. So here's a picture of me I've been kind of quarantined and staying at home for the last month or so. So just give you an idea, this is what my day-to-day kind of looks like with my two young children. But my day-to-day job is really as a direct response copywriter, which really just means I work with coaches in the health and wellness space, life coaches, and also mindset coaches to really think about their online strategy. Even before this period, that's really my focus. And obviously in the last few weeks, as we've gone through this crisis, it's only gotten more and more busy as I'm working with more and more coaches to kind of implement their strategy as we've been, more focused on that online connection with their audience, but also getting new clients, especially in this environment where there's a lot of uncertainty. So I'm going to walk you through kind of the strategies of what has been working with, my own clients, what I've seen kind of hard data around. And again, we'll get into a little bit more detail on how to actually go ahead and implement this stuff in your own business. So in my own business and kind of building it online, that's typically how I get my own prospects. I've done a lot of things right, but I think the other thing to mention is I've done a lot of things wrong. So I think I've kind of been through those strategies. I've tried a lot of different things over a long period of time. I've seen what works and what hasn't. And I think one of the key things that I've discovered is kind of the hard way of trying to build a following. So I did do it the way that coaches and a lot of others have started online, where you have to build a lot of content. You do that every day, try and build a following. You start a blog, all those other things where you're trying to build content, trying to build that following, and your hope is that really those clients come through at the end. But really the hard way that I kind of went through is I did a lot of those things. So I spent a lot of time building that daily content on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and just I certainly made connections, had a lot of conversations, but the amount of time and effort that I put in certainly didn't come back in the form of clients over time. I did the same thing from in my previous business, working a little bit more on online ads. I built this massive blog that delivered a lot of value to the community that I was trying to work with. But again, I didn't see the return for all that time and effort that I was updating those blog entries on a weekly basis and trying to put that value out there. And the same thing from a course perspective in terms of, and also running online ads as well. So I've kind of been in there, I've put in investment and not seen that return. So what I'm going to share with you is kind of the flip side, what I've kind of learned over time and what I've seen again with my clients that has really worked to kind of break through that process of not putting in all that initial effort and being left with maybe not the same return that you were expecting. So you obviously don't have the opportunity to spend years and years or months and months trying to build up your online presence in the hopes that your clients come through. You obviously need those clients right now to keep your business going and keep it growing within this environment. So that's really what I'm going to cover in today's webinar. So again, we're going to try and give you the easy way that doesn't require you to post on social media, doesn't require you to create a blog. I'm going to give you the kind of the strategies that you need to get in there and start build a presence and build that connection with your prospects. So as we talk about, so this is kind of where my clients are at. So at the end of the day, as they implement these strategies, what they've tended to experience is 5 new clients a month, kind of on consistency, and those clients are worth anywhere between 6 and 10 thousand over a 6-month period. That's typically what my coaches really focus on, that 6-month initial period, and then going forward, they'll see where they're at and kind of renew clients along the way. So there certainly are clients that are less than this range, and certainly clients that I have are above this range. But this should give you a snapshot of kind of putting these strategies into place, what you can expect. So again, that consistent client flow. Higher priced clients that are higher quality as well. So it's not a volume coaching business that you're trying to build. You're trying to build those deeper connections, have an impact on their life, and obviously use those testimonials to further build your business as well. Again, kind of as I talk about the strategies that I've implemented, again, the results aren't typical if you're not willing to put in the work. So I'm going to walk you through the specific strategies that I use with my clients. I've shared you the results of what they typically experience, but there's certainly, as you've kind of experienced in your own coaching business, as you've went through some of these trainings, it's tough to get some of the return there. But again, I'm willing to kind of sit here, give you the strategies that are working for free. Really is, I'm talking to more and more coaches every day about their, kind of need for getting online. And obviously the trend has been going online for the last few years, but this crisis has obviously pushed that and escalated that trend going forward. So I'm trying to give you as much free value over time, but just had to put this kind of disclaimer slide in there. If you're not really, willing to kind of follow what I'm going to follow kind of step by step, it doesn't absolutely work within that. So, and it's not absolutely suitable for every single coach, but take the strategies that I give you, implement them for your own business, specialize them for your specific audience, and you will see results as we go through. So, what I'm going to talk about is kind of 3 different strategies, 3 different secrets that I've found has really worked with connecting with prospects online as we go through. So number 1 is really closing more clients online in one day, really by using a specific audience. So we're going to go and target a specific audience within that broader audience. And this is really the mistake that I see, number 1, and kind of seeing and working with prospects all the time, is they're trying to target everyone that's out there online. And as a result, their message doesn't really resonate with anyone. So the idea is that we're going to get a little bit more specific with our audience. We're going to get deeper in terms of our messaging and that conversation, and that's going to lead to much greater results over time and those more consistent new client trends that we're looking for. Obviously, the fear is that if you close down and get down to a more specific audience, that you're going to miss out on all this other business that might be out there by just targeting everyone. But I've seen it time and time again with my own business and with my clients, that by being a little bit more targeted, you can create that connection with them, really get into their head a little bit more. And that leads to kind of hiring you online in a more consistent way. And if you think about any kind of Fortune 500 company that's out there, whether it's Nike, Starbucks, really, as you go down the line, they all started with a small specific niche within their industry. And as they grew, they gradually expanded that base over time to get to where they are today. But you really have to kind of focus on a specific audience, especially online, to kind of resonate that message. That doesn't mean you have to stick to that specific audience forever. But it does mean that you you should kind of focus on that audience and build that rapport with them over time. So we'll get in a little bit more detail about that and how to actually implement that in your business. Secret number 2 is that you don't have to create a lot of social media content to get in front of your target audience. There's a more direct way that I'll talk about. Again, being a little bit more specific, getting the right things in front of them, and getting that results right away. And the third thing is you don't have to be on a call to, you actually can get to the point where if your online strategies are set up correctly, that you actually don't even have to get on a sales call with certain prospects because they already have the information that they need to hire you. That doesn't mean that in every instance that works that way, but that's really what I'm trying to help you with in this webinar, is get to the point where prospects are comfortable enough and they have enough information and value from you that they're willing to hire you as their coach, even without a kind of a sales call that's necessary. And that's really the end goal, is that's how we can kind of scale your business and your coaching business over time, by not having to have these free calls with prospects all the time. They really are getting to the point where if you do get on a call with somebody, it's only for a few minutes or 5 minutes where you can kind of answer a unique question or a hesitation that they might have. But what we're trying to do in our marketing is to be upfront as much as possible and get in front and kind of answer their questions even before they ask them. So again, secret number 1, being a little bit more specific in who our audience is. And when I sit down with my clients, this is really a day 1 activity that we're trying to do. So how do you think about your specific audience and who you want to target? You know, if you're an existing coach and you've had a business for a while, I think you can kind of pick out some of those common characteristics of your clients that you've had success with, whether it's, you know, and think about it, you know, as specifically as possible. So have they tended to be men? Have they tended to be women? And within those two kind of genders, how can you get a little bit more specific in terms of what their background is, what their outcomes are, what are their pain points that they're dealing with now? If you can get as specific as possible, that's going to allow you to kind of create a message that really resonates with them, kind of catches their attention online, and gets them to the point where they're a little bit more comfortable with hiring you as their coach. So again, being a little bit more specific in your audience is going to allow your messaging to be a little bit more, you know, it's going to allow you to resonate with that person online. The one thing that you have to recognize is anytime a prospect comes to your website or sees some of your stuff online, they probably come to your page a little bit skeptical, because they've probably read over the last few years either a bunch of self-help books, or maybe they've hired a prior coach, maybe they've gone through a course that has tried to solve that pain point that they have, that they do have right now, and it's kind of escalated and gone forward for a few years now, and nothing has really solved that problem. Maybe they've had a few different insights that have helped along the way, but nothing that has really completely resolved their pain point that they're looking for, or gotten them to the outcome that they truly desire. So when they come to their page, recognize that they're going to be really skeptical that you as the coach are going to deliver anything different than what they've experienced in the past. So you kind of have to knock down those, you know, the shields that they have up, or those walls that they have up, to get to the point where they have faith that you can truly deliver what all those other things that they've tried to invest in the past have not been able to deliver. So, you know, in being a little bit more specific, think about those specific pain points. What are those moments where in their day they're feeling that most anxiety, that pain that they really want to relieve? So ultimately, your prospects that come to your page, they want to be relieved of a certain pain, and they want to get to some type of outcome, whether it's within their career or their relationship, or, you know, something that is specific. One of the things that coaches don't really realize is you're not as much selling your coaching services as you are delivering an outcome that your prospects really want. So within your messaging, what's really important is to kind of connect with that prospect within the pain points that they do have, but also giving them hope that you can deliver that outcome that they're looking for. That's ultimately what they want. They don't as much want to go through the process of doing the work to get there. They really want that outcome as quickly as possible, as easily as possible. So it's important within your marketing to kind of address those things. So, how can you be specific and kind of connecting with your prospects over time, and specifically their pain points? The one thing that you can do is kind of connect with them, either using your story or your own past clients' stories to show that you've been in their shoes before without actually saying that. And doing the same with, maybe if your personal story isn't reflective of what they're going through right now, you can use one of your past clients as a testimonial and share that story to kind of connect with them. And we'll get into a little bit more detail on how you can actually go about doing that. Second thing is, you don't have to create a bunch of content. As I mentioned, social media posts and blog articles and things like that. That just takes a lot of time to kind of build that following, and it's not guaranteed that you're going to get the right people following you and eventually building that relationship to where they want to hire you. So again, you don't really have that opportunity to build all this stuff up. You really need those results now to grow your business online. So I want to give you the more direct route, and that's really by using online ads. And that's really what I use with my clients on a day-to-day basis, really going to the specific platforms that your specific audience is. So again, step one is finding that specific audience. Number two is online, where do those people hang out the most? And the platforms that I tend to use with my clients are either Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube. So out of those four, where does your specific audience that you're really targeting, where do those people hang out online? It might be just a matter of kind of asking them for those clients that you do have, or kind of doing a little bit more diligent search on looking at those followings altogether. But at the end of the day, what's your investment to do that is spending about $20 a day, paying one of those platforms to put your online ad directly in front of your prospects. So one of the things that you might not realize is, as those news feeds within social media are getting more crowded, even if you do have a big following, those things like Facebook, take Facebook as an example, they're not showing your content to every single one of your followers on a day-to-day basis, just because they don't have the space within the newsfeed to do that. Every other coach is trying to get online right now. Every other business is trying to get in front of their prospects online as well. So it kind of crowds out that newsfeed. And at the end of the day, even if you have a very large following, about 4% of your followers are seeing your daily content or regular content that's going out there. So think about that. Anytime you create content online, about 4% of your followers are seeing that. So the vast majority are, even if you have the greatest content that's out there, they're not going to see it just because that news feed is getting really crowded. And really, by using online ads, and especially in this environment where a lot of companies are kind of cutting their marketing budget, it's a great opportunity to get online, get in front of your prospects. Again, using that $20 a day investment allows you to more specifically get in front of them and have that conversation and really connect with them. So and I'm sure for a lot of you, you might have tried Facebook or online ads before and just didn't get the results that you're looking for. So the one thing I wanted to cover in here is, what is the right approach to kind of connect with your prospects, get that conversation started, get their attention, and eventually get to the point where they are motivated to work with you and are ready to hire you. So that approach is really what I talked about in kind of that secret number one, is really using your own story or testimonials from your own past clients to really connect with your prospects in their current state right now. So talking about those pain points that they're dealing with. So take, for example, say you're a coach that really focuses on women within the corporate environment. For those women that are really feel stuck and paralyzed within their own career, and they want to make a change. They want to make a change and start their own business within this environment. They think it's a perfect segue to doing that, but they just don't have the confidence or the direction that they need to get there. So think about what are those moments, and you might have a similar type moment. So with a lot of the coaches within that space that I work with, they've tended to already have that experience in their past where they kind of were sitting at their cubicle, or they're listening to a specific meeting with their boss, and they just felt a lot, they felt disheartened. They felt like their life was a little bit more than what they were doing right now, and they just wanted to move forward. And eventually they did have their own transformation. Eventually they got the confidence and the direction that they needed to start their own business as well. And that's a perfect opportunity to kind of share that story with your prospects, talk about those pain points. What were those thoughts and emotions as you were sitting in that corporate environment at a specific moment in time? Tell that story and allow them to kind of connect with you. Again, the idea is that you as a coach don't have to sit there and say, I've been in your shoes before. You can actually show that by telling a story of a specific moment where that pain point was actually at its highest and what that allowed you to do, and eventually build your transformation. And that kind of gets down to your kind of your process. So, what is your specific process that allows people to have the transformations that they're looking for? And then talking about how has your life changed as a result of that? So what is that end outcome that they're looking for, and what does that feel like, and what were kind of the experiences of you going through that to actually, and again, what are your thoughts, feelings, emotions at that period? So the idea of talking about kind of that after effect is really important, because you're giving your prospects hope that you can get them to that same outcome over time, that you've been in that same situation that they're in right now. And that really allows you to kind of catch their attention, learn a little bit more about you, and you can do the same thing. So maybe you don't have a personal story involved with that, but you can talk about kind of your past clients, a past client story of how you kind of went through that same chain as well. So one of the things that I see for testimonials for coaches all the time is testimonials that are really focused more on the coach rather than on that client. And what you should really do is put more of that testimonial focus on that client and their story. Before they met with you, what were their pain points? What were those experiences that they were dealing with? How did you help them along the way? But actually, how was their life transformed as a result? And that's a really powerful thing for a prospect, because anytime they come to your page, they're going to see the same thing as they go across all the different coaches. Testimonials that talk about how great that coach is, and that doesn't really help them answer the question, can this coach help me in my unique situation? So you have to realize that a lot of prospects online believe that their situation is unique, that they need a specific coach that can kind of help them in their specific circumstances. So if you can kind of resonate with them with your own story or a story of a client, that kind of gives them hope and that connection that you need to kind of catch their attention and eventually get to the point where you can kind of describe your services and get to the point where you kind of give them all the information that they need to hire you as the coach. And that kind of leads me to secret number 3 is a lot of times you will get on a free strategic call or discovery call with your prospects. That tends to be the call to action on almost every coach's website that I see, is getting to that free call. The problem is that you're not giving a lot of motivation for people to get on that call. They're wondering, like, what is it, what's in it for me? Like, why should I get on the phone call with you? So it's important to not leave a lot of that information to the call, but you already really know, and I've kind of discovered that kind of the key things that your prospects need to do, kind of think about it as kind of like a checklist of all the things that they need to check off before they're ready to hire you as a coach to kind of invest over that 6-month period or 3-month period or 12-month period that you are going to work with them. Like, what is that experience that you really want to move through and ultimately deliver for them? So again, I'll go through in a little bit more detail how you can do that, but think about kind of the flow is you're going to get in front of you're going to think about what your specific audience is. What is that online platform that they tend to use the most? Again, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Where do they spend their most time? You're going to put an online ad that's specific to either using your story or a testimonial from one of your clients to kind of catch their attention and let them know that you're a perfect solution for them. And then you're going to move forward and kind of check off the boxes for them. So once they kind of click through and hit the link on your online ad, what I tend to ask my clients to do is either go on your own website or on a landing page on a separate web page, kind of go through those specific information that they do need. So again, selling yourself and your services up front, so you don't have to wait for that call or something else or that in-person meeting, which obviously isn't possible now, to kind of go through those steps that people are looking for. And I think every coach has kind of recognized that that in-person meeting is a great way to kind of convert a client. So as much as possible, we want to replicate that experience if we can. And the best way that I've seen to really do that online is by using video. So when they click on that online ad, what I really build for my clients is kind of a video sales letter that kind of, again, goes through that information that they need to feel comfortable that you're the right choice for them, that you can get them the results and the outcomes that they're looking for, and making it very specific to their audience. So you're, speaking to this audience right now, we all speak the English language, but within your prospects, they have specific words and phrases that they tend to use a little bit more. So if you can kind of speak their language, for the, more specifically, like what are those thoughts in their head that they're going through right now? What is that specific outcome that they're looking for? That can be really powerful, and kind of getting a little bit deeper for your prospects and letting them know that I know exactly where you are and I can get you to the outcome that you're looking for. So and the best part is, as you go through, kind of this video sales letter, kind of that next step tends to be an application. That's what I typically recommend. So instead of going directly to a free strategy call, ask them to fill out an application. That allows them to, get a better idea of how many people are kind of motivated to work with you, and kind of going through the different scenarios to do that. So, before you get on a call with them, you can kind of see and answer some of the key questions that you tend to want on a call to make sure that they're ready to move forward, that this is the right time for them, that they're ready, motivated to work with you and can get those results that you're going out there and promising. And allows you to kind of work with only those people that you really want to work with, that you most enjoy working with. And you're not spending time on a call with somebody that just isn't the right fit right now. And the other thing that you can use in addition to that application is having an email list and an automated email sequence that allows you to kind of have that conversation. The other thing we can use is text message as well within certain online ads, starting that text message conversation, starting email conversations. So they don't have to make that, the commitment of kind of getting on the phone with you to kind of discuss their situation. You can kind of go back and forth with them via email, back and forth via text, again, to answer the questions that they might have. And the idea is to kind of get in front of what that information that they tend to want to know. So in those conversations with prospects, I think you know that they all tend to have similar questions. Obviously, certain prospects want some more personalized questions that they want answered. But the idea is that we're giving as much information upfront, video sales letter, to kind of warm them up so they get a better idea of what your personality is, your sense of humor along the way. But again, you're kind of describing your process and how you can get them the results that they're looking for, answering their common questions that you tend to get. So you don't have to wait for them to answer them. And then kind of guiding them along the way, like what is your philosophy? What should they expect if they were going to hire you right away? So again, the idea is to kind of knock down those questions as quickly as possible and upfront as possible before your prospects even have to answer them. So that's kind of it. I think if we think about the flow that I kind of went through in terms of the process, so again, being a little bit more specific in who you're targeting is really important. Using online ads, again, $20 investment a day, so it equates to about $600 per month. And if you think about the fees that you might be charging a client right now, that might equate to about one client or a few clients a month. So you can see the bar for you seeing that reinvestment is pretty low. So that allows you to kind of get in front of the right prospects, potentially get that right hired right away for those people, and actually answering their questions along the way. And then that third step in terms of the process, kind of replicating that in-person meeting that you would have with a prospect, those free calls that you have. Want to get that more of that information up front, using video to introduce you, telling your story, showing your personality, your sense of humor, talking about the process that you go through with prospects, why you can help them get to the outcome that they really want the most, showing proof along the way. So, collecting those testimonials, preferably via video. So if the prospects can kind of see and hear from the past clients that you've had in the past, that kind of, again, kind of bridges the gap for them and gets them closer to where they want to hire you, a little bit closer to the normal process of kind of doing that free call and eventually getting to the point where they want to hire you. So as much as possible, again, I kind of think about it as a checklist. All these people want specific information that they want to get to the point where they want to hire you. Want to give that as much upfront as possible via video sales letter, and get to the point where they're filling out an application to show that they're motivated, so you can get a little bit more information about them. So if you do get to the point where a call is necessary for them to hire you, you already have a lot of that information up front. You can kind of anticipate their questions. You can kind of go in and personalize it a little bit more. So you're much more prepared to close that client, even if you do have to get to the point where you do have to get on the call with them. But we want that video sales letter to get to the point, and it takes some evolution. It doesn't happen immediately, but eventually you can evolve that video sales letter to the point where it's robust enough that people don't actually have to get on the call with you. You can interact via text message or email to kind of answer their questions, but you don't actually have to get on the call with them to close them as clients. And that kind of opens up a lot of time and attention for you to kind of, again, work more with your clients that you already have, or open up your life for all those other things that you probably would want to, you really want to spend your time with, whether it's with your family or on vacation or things like that. So really opens up your time to do those things that you're really looking forward to do. So in the last a little over a half hour, I've kind of covered a lot of different stuff. I do want to open up the conversation to some Q&A. So if you guys are willing to jump on video, we can kind of discuss some of your specific coaching businesses, and kind of work through what you might be able to do online, or any other questions that might be helpful. You can also do it via this the chat as well. And the special offer that I want to put in front of you guys is a free call with me. So I know I've covered a lot of stuff in a little less than an hour here. I know you probably have specific questions. Obviously, this environment is very much uncertain. So I want to offer you the opportunity to get on a kind of a 20-minute strategy call with me. We can kind of dig into your specific business, see what potential holes might be out there, to kind of get that visibility online, get it up and running as quickly as possible. Again, getting you more clients, having more conversations with them over time. Again, building some of those marketing assets as well. So having an email list and some of those other functionalities are a great way to kind of continue that conversation with people online. Keep your business top of mind. So you recognize that certain prospects, maybe right now in this difficult situation as people are in lockdown, maybe right now isn't a great time for them to hire a coach. But as we move forward, maybe in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, as you've kind of continued that conversation with them online, but also via email, that offers the opportunity for them to have continued conversations with you and ultimately get to the point where they're willing to hire you as their coach. So I'm just going to stop the share for right now. But again, for those that are still on here, if you want to jump on or via the chat, happy to kind of answer any questions that you have or anything that I've covered to get to the point where you're a little bit more comfortable with the online approaches that I talked about, and the more direct approach to get to the point where you're getting a little bit more clients. So any questions that you have there? I think in terms of the strategy call, what I'll do is kind of follow up with those that have joined the webinar today. I'll send you a copy of the recording of this webinar so you can go through it if you want. And again, I'll give you a link to scheduling kind of a chat with me as we go through. So the question was, do you help people look right on video and comfortable? Yeah, it's something that I do. And in terms of that video, that setting up that video, one of the key things that I do is kind of create a script for you to not word for word follow, but kind of check off the boxes of what your prospects really need to know. So in working with enough coaches over time, I've kind of developed that, rapport with their prospects, have a good idea of what to expect. So what I do is kind of develop that script for you to follow. You can use kind of a teleprompter on your computer is an easy way to do it, but there is some practice involved to allow you to get comfortable on video. You want to make sure that delivery is as smooth as possible. But it doesn't mean that we have to create those videos all in one take. I think the good part is that you can take your time, kind of create the various different sections over a series of days or a series of time to get to the point where you're happy with how that video is presented, and then make sure it resonates with those prospects as well. So it is something that I do. It's a big part of my job to kind of make sure that we're speaking in the right language that the prospect wants, but also making sure the delivery is as professional and looks as good as possible. And certainly it gets to the point where if you wanted to hire a video editor, that's not something that's in my expertise, but kind of can cut up those videos along the way. And that's worthwhile to, as we go through, think about how to do that. So the other question is, can you screen share a typical ad that might be used? I can't give you a specific client example. Trying to think if I can give you. I think what I can do is kind of follow up. With in addition to the kind of the link of this recording, I can follow up and give you a couple screenshots. I don't have them readily available on my computer right now, but just to give you a better sense of what some of those story-based ads look like. And again, they typically go two different ways in terms of talking about your specific personal story or talking about a testimonial advertisement as well. And they tend to be a little bit more video based as well. So you'd have at the top a little bit more ad copy where somebody would be reading through that story. And then just below that, they would have a video of either you or your client talking through a different variation of that story. So the idea is that they have that video at the bottom that can kind of motivate people to click through and learn more about your business, or they can read that ad copy at the top, or the combination of the two to really get them clicking through to that sales page, to that video sales letter, or that page within your website that can give them a little bit more information. So the idea is that the idea of the online ad is really to kind of just catch your prospects' attention online, to get them a little bit more interested in your services. So kind of think about it as your kind of introduction to them, and they're kind of clicking through to a more robust video where you can kind of go through again that checklist of what they need to know, talking about how you can get them the outcomes that they're looking for. So again, I'll follow up with a link, Matt, and I'll show you some examples of how this works in practice, and what it looks like. Any other questions that I can answer for you guys? Or again, I'll send you an email with the stuff. So if you want to reply to that, and again, the offer of having a 20-minute consultation to talk more about your business is out there. So I'll send you a link to that as well. But hope this was helpful, and going forward, especially with this more online focused coaching community. I hope you guys are doing well health-wise, but also within your coaching business. So feel free to hit reply on that email that I send you, or for those that are watching the recording, there'll be a few buttons below this page that you can reach out to me as well. So if you have questions or a question about your specific business and how you can implement that, happy to answer those. But for now, I'm going to end the call here, and hope you guys are have a great day.